Hello GlowGetters and welcome back to the GlowUp Chronicles. Today we are diving into the posts from the subreddit r/LoseIt and discovering the secret habits of naturally skinny people. What are skinny people habits? I remember seeing a post, maybe on this sub, that was all about skinny people habits. It was basically this person that decided to pay attention to the daily habits of their naturally thin friend, and it turned out there were lots of small things that they, as an overweight person, would either never do or just think to do. I remember that post. The OP was saying that she never understood why she and her friend would go out to the same restaurants and eat similarly rich/high-calorie food, but her friend was always a healthy weight while the OP struggled to lose. OP told us she was so confused because, to her, whenever they were together they were eating the same food. Then she began to realize that her thinner friend never finished her meals when they went out. She would take the leftovers for another meal or leave food on the plate that we wasn't hungry enough to eat. She didn't feel obligated to enjoy all the food right there. She also found that, while the OP was eating large restaurant meals and snacking in between them, her thin friend would eat the large restaurant meal and very little else for the rest of that day, maybe one other small meal, since she wouldn't be hungry enough for more rich food or snacks. The friend unconsciously compensated for the yummy huge plates of food by going light for the rest of that day. While the OP ate during her free time because she enjoyed eating, her friend never ate during free time because, well, to people with healthy eating habits, free time does not equal eating time. The friend enjoyed walking and other hobbies and didn't see her free time/work time as an opportunity for more food. My skinny friend would suggest we meet up for a walk rather than coffee or drinks. I've come to love this and try to do it as much as possible. Socializing doesn't have to mean consuming calories. My very skinny BFF does this too. Social walks. Also, they walk alone for fun, listening to music and just looking around. And walk home from dinners out. Also, always 3 to 4 walk tours when visiting a nearby city. Food is optional and what is consumed is deliberate. If you're not hungry for breakfast, don't force yourself to eat it. When you go to the cafe, you can get just a coffee, no snacks. Just because someone serves you a large portion doesn't mean you're obligated to finish it. You don't need to eat the snacks offered at a party. If you're having a bad day, you can choose a non-food outlet. If there's a treat in the house that normally isn't there, you don't need to eat it just because it's scarce and won't last long. The list goes on, but it really boils down to recognizing that you don't need to eat at every opportunity. For most of us, food is not scarce and consuming it is optional. I guess it's like food mindfulness. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Almost all of them are under the misguided thought that they eat a lot and have high metabolisms. LOL. I won't ever forget visiting my rail-thin beloved cousin in NM. She took me to the Lotta Burger, saying how starving she was and was gonna really pig out. She was preparing me to see her eat a disgusting amount of food. She ordered a meal off the menu, a giant quad burger and fries. We sat in the car and I watched her tap out a 1/4 of the way in. She really thought she had ate a lot. Then began to complain about how she never gains weight. Then invited me to go jogging for fun. God, I love her. Reminds me of a former coworker who bragged about her high metabolism. Like she said she could just eat whatever and as much as she wants and not gaining weight. Fast forward to a lunch break we got to spend together. We decided to get a burger and fries, and halfway through the meal she just gave up because she was full. Just thought, okay, so if this is as much as the wants, I understand how she is not gaining weight. Well, I finished my meal because I never give up. I know so many people like this. An extremely thin man was once bragging about his awesome metabolism, because he eats tons and yet never gains weight. It was 9 p.m. when we had this conversation, so I asked him what he had eaten that day. His answer was tons. An apple, a banana, a pastry, and a pear. I asked if he was planning to have any more food that day, and he said, yes, 2 giant handfuls of spinach. I think I've figured out why he was extremely thin. They don't actually eat the snacks offered at parties. This is something that really stood out to me. The host will usually put out nuts and crackers and whatnot, and they will maybe take 1 or 2 items the moment it's offered and then just completely ignore them for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, I'm finishing off the whole bowl since I eat my social anxiety away. My partner is naturally skinny even now in his 30s. He only eats enough, mostly the same things. I'm the one who introduced him to lots of other cuisines. And I notice he doesn't think/talk about food as much. In bed in the morning, I'm already excited about which meat to defrost for dinner, and he's like, "Why are you always thinking about food?" LOL, like I get excited about food, but to him it's just something necessary to live. Now I try to follow his eating style a little bit to avoid overeating. My wife, who is very skinny, forgets to eat. I don't understand this at all, but she'll go through the trouble of making food, walk away to get a glass of water, and hours later realize she hasn't eaten all day. There has been days where she announces at 7 p.m. she forgot to eat all day. I would literally eat my arm before noon if nothing else was available. They do not reward themselves with food. I was shocked because we all talk about having a drink at the end of a stressful day. A lavish brunch, right? For my chubby self, even if I am alone, I would reward myself with food. Or stress eat. But my skinny friends, as much as they talk about rewarding themselves with food or restaurants, they don't really. Most of my weight gain comes from stressful periods of life. So it was eye-opening. I used to reward myself with food and I ballooned to almost 200 pounds. Now I don't feel hungry all the time, and I notice that I can talk the whole day how I am getting myself a big McDonald's or sushi or whatever when I get home because I am craving it. But after the whole day, I don't feel like eating a lot anymore, so I just eat some soup or veggie stew that I have in my fridge and call it a day. Once I actually ordered the McDonald's and it made me feel bad on my stomach. It was a crazy amount of food, a Big Mac, medium fries, and 500 milliliters cola. So I stopped ordering that even if I think I crave it. In my fat days, I would eat it and still be hungry 3 hours later. I am naturally thin. I'm not actually sure why this post showed up in my newsfeed, but whatever. I hate the feeling of being stuffed or full. If I feel hungry, I eat whatever sounds good at that moment. But if I don't feel hungry, I forget to eat. I think it is because my parents never forced me to finish my meal, just taught me to only take what I need. We also were never rushed to eat. No food is good enough to deal with feeling gross because I overate. Only thing worth it is to be polite to my grandma. Literally all of my thin friends and relatives forget to eat. All the time. My dad is naturally very thin and active, and all my life he has put bread in the toaster and forgotten it's there. He'll return hours later to the kitchen and jovially exclaim how he's done it again. I remember one skinnier girl being chastised by her mom for forgetting to eat again. No kidding, so she ate a celery stick to appease her mom. She seemed to have no emotional attachment to food and didn't seem to think about it much. Not sure if this is a habit or something you can cultivate. Seems like a lot of healthy people eat dinner rather early and then after that they're done eating for the day. Even if they're hungry in the middle of the night, the thought of having food in stomach in the middle of the night is more gross than the discomfort of hunger. They wait until breakfast. No mindless eating. A box of chocolates can last several months, since you only eat 1 or 2 every week. A bag of chips can last 3 weeks. You rarely eat a whole portion at a restaurant, they are simply too big. If you take the leftovers home, they can last for 2 portions. You only eat if you are hungry, and if you like the food. If you pay for a meal and you didn't like it, you don't feel obligated to eat it. One of the things I discovered and was shocked about when I was in college, I was super thin then, was that apparently most people eat when they are hungry at night. In my book, if you have already had dinner and it's late and you are starting to get hungry, it means it's time to go to sleep, not time for a snack. Okay, my partner is naturally slim. He looks great and all, but he doesn't exercise or work out. He has an active job though. But here's what I've realized since living with him. He's not naturally skinny at all. He just doesn't eat as much as it looked like. So he loves pizza, pasta, sweets, pastries, all the lovely foods I try not to eat too much of, but he doesn't really eat that often. Like he'll have a cheese and ham toast tie in the morning, maybe a yogurt or a chocolate pastry as well, then go to work all day and not eat until he's home, which will normally be a massive plate of cheese pasta. Like he can eat loads and eat without worrying, but can also go ages without even thinking about food because he's not really hungry. I literally can't even imagine this. I am always hungry. Like I'll have breakfast, then lunch at work, get home starving, ask him if he wants dinner yet, and he's like, don't mind, I'm not really hungry. So I'm like, did you already eat? And he's like, not since this morning, and I'm like, what, how is that possible? Not to mention how on my day off I'm constantly wanting to snack. Like I can't keep out the fridge while he will have breakfast and then be fine until like 9 at night? Like what? Makes me feel like a right fat pig. I've noticed my skinny friends drink a lot of coffee and then forget to eat. Coffee definitely acts as an appetite suppressant for me. Always taking the stairs, walking everywhere, bouncing their legs / moving their body around when they're idling, walking every day are some exercise ones. For food, leaving food on the plate, skipping breakfast, drinking tea / coffee black, not drinking calories in general, not having dessert. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment about where you are in your fitness journey. The goal of this channel is to create a community where we encourage each other to stay on track and reach our goals. From narrated weight loss stories, incredible weight loss journeys, and insane physical transformations, we have the daily dose of motivation you need. Thanks for watching and see you next time.